Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nyambura and this is 100 on Books. Today I'm going to be talking about the books I've borrowed since the last Maktaba Manenos. So in case you're new here, Maktaba Manenos is a series where I share the books I've borrowed and I talk about how much I've saved off of borrowing them. I'll always, or going forward, or in the recent past, listen, what you're going to see is the price of the Kindle edition because that's generally what I'm reading. And even if I'm listening to the audiobook, I'll share the Kindle price because if I was going to acquire the book, that's probably how I would acquire it. Um, the savings are usually in US dollars and off of the Kindle price, but it would probably be higher for me if I bought those books. For instance, it would be higher savings than what I would actually save because if I bought the book, I would have to pay for shipping and for taxes and for all of those things that really inflate the cost of books in my part of the world. I live in Kenya, in case you don't know this. Yeah, so um take whatever amount it is, tack on some tax, tack on some shipping, and you can get a sense of what it is I'm saving. I love libraries. I am a member of the Kenya National Library Services Nairobi branch. That's the one in community for people who are based in Nairobi. And um, I also have several library cards on Libby, which is a service that Overdrive offers where you're able to um, yeah, borrow books, ebooks, audiobooks, magazines also with your library card. If you're wondering, how do I do that? I have friends in North America who very generously shared their library card details with me. And so, yeah, you're able to read books like that. I think the only library that hasn't asked me lots of questions has been the Queer Liberation Library. I'll put a link to them down below. They have a really fantastic selection of queer books, and that's been a great addition to my reading life. Yeah, so after that long preamble, let's go into the books I currently have borrowed, or the latest books for me to have added to my list of loans. I generally only mention books that are new to me, so the books I mentioned are not the only books I've borrowed. They're the books I've borrowed that I've not mentioned in previous Maktaba Manenos. I'll put a link to the playlist down below if you want to see what other books I've borrowed. The first of those is the 12-week year. Get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. And guess who forgot to put in the author's name here? But you'll see the image here. And I put this book on hold, I'm gonna say in November or December of 2023. It took this long for the book to arrive. So yeah, I figured why not. I was drawn to it because I'm interested in this idea of really maximizing on each of the year's quarters going into the end of the year, and I have a history of really struggling with resolutions and so on. I mean, don't we all, or don't most of us? So I'm drawn to it as a way of essentially being able to reset every quarter, to reflect and so on. I actually haven't cracked it open, or the digital equivalent of cracking open a book. So let me see what it has in store for me. The next book is The White Mosque, a memoir by Sophia Samata. I don't remember how or why I picked up this book, but I started reading it already, and it's so interesting because Sophia Samata is following the route that some Mennonites used in coming from Russia to Uzbekistan, I believe, or Kazakhstan. I will correct that when I do my review. And she's a Mennonite herself. She's her a Mennonite through her mom. Her father was a Somali Muslim, and her mom grew up as a Swiss German Mennonite. And so there's also this question of belonging in certain spaces that are coded as white, as Christian, as Western, and so on. And it's proving really interesting so far. Next is The Menopause Manifesto: Own Your Health with Facts and Feminism by Dr. Jane Gunter. I picked this up because I heard about it on the menopause episode of How To, the podcast from Slate. I'm going to put a link to the podcast below. And I've read Jen Gunter's work before. I think it's called the Vagina Bible or something like that. I'll put an image here. And so I trust how she writes about the bodies of people assigned female at birth, the bodies of people who are capable of gestation, and so on. So this is something I'm looking forward to reading, because for a host of reasons I've been thinking about menopause a lot over the last 2-3 years. It's some way in the horizon for me as an AFAB person. AFAB, for those who don't know, means assigned female at birth. But also, it's not beyond the realm of possibility for it to come sooner rather than later. And I think it's important to go into such life events with some information and some sense of what to expect and so on. The next book is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which is the first book in the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers. And I have borrowed this as an audiobook. It's narrated by Rachel Dulude. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I actually haven't listened to any of the audiobooks, so I might be mispronouncing Rachel's name. And I borrowed this because I really enjoyed A Psalm for the Wild Built. And I figured, why not listen to this? However, the price you're seeing on the screen is the Kindle price, because, as I said, that's the format I'd most likely be getting it in. Yeah, so I haven't cracked this open. I don't know what's in it, but I trust Becky Chambers and I'm gonna go in. Next is The Essential Dykes to Watch Out For by Alison Bechdel. I've enjoyed Alison Bechdel's graphic work before with Fun Home and so on. There's another title I'm forgetting, but yeah, Fun Home for sure. So I had put this on hold a really long time ago, and when it came, there was no way I was going to pass it up. And Dex to Watch Out For is basically what brought her fame. So I'm interested to see some of this early work and some of the ideas that are explored in it. Next is Same Bed, Different Dreams by Ed Park. I saw this book on Instagram. I know very little about it, so I'm going in not with much information, but I remember the vibes were good from what I read, so that's why I put it on hold. This is also an audiobook. However, I forgot to write the audiobook narrator's name, and I'm going to mention that when I do my wrap up with the book. I will, however, put in the narrator's name downstairs. I'll also put in the name of the author of the 12-week here downstairs, so that you know who it is. Then the last book is What Fresh Hell Is This? Perimenopause, Menopause, Other Indignities, and You by Heather Corina. This is also from the podcast, from the menopause episode of the How To podcast from Slate. And I've started reading it, and I really like Heather's sense of humor and this sense that, hey, this change might come to you like a freight train, or it might come to you gently, or it might come and go, and that's something to expect as an AFAB person. And she's here to help you figure some things out, because I think women's bodies, or the bodies of AFAB people, are generally in a lot of cultures mystified. So a bit of you is like, I have no idea what's going on, like the best you can do is turn to your neighbor. Turn to your neighbor is such an evangelical thing to say. Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor! But, turn to your peers, for instance, or something, and your peers only know so much. Sometimes your doctor has no idea what's going on, and so it's nice to get all of these different women's experiences, different AFAB people's experiences, and to think about what it means as one grows older to going to perimenopause, going to menopause, what life looks like after menopause, in a way that's kind and generous. Yeah, so that's all the books I've brought into my, library stacks since the last time I spoke to you. I've saved a total of $92.49 US, and I'm excited to read these books and or to finish the ones I've already started and to talk to you about them in a future wrap up. Please let me know what books you borrowed lately, or if you're not a person who borrows books, what books you brought into your personal library lately, and yeah, why you were drawn to those books. Because as you've seen with some of these books, I was drawn to the vibes more than anything else. Please like, share, subscribe, and all the good things, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.